Alright, good morning everybody. Welcome to your fifth and final day of MCA review. Today we're going to work on evaluating expressions and using formulas. So the first problem here says evaluate the expression when x equals 4. So when x equals 4, that means we're just taking this 4 and we are putting it in to everywhere that we see an x. So what we'll have is 1/4 times 5 times 4 to the third. So the first thing we got to do is we got to do our exponents. So we got to do 4 to the third, which is 64. So our new problem then is 1/4 times 5 times 64. And 5 times 64 gives us 320. So what we got to do is find 1/4 of 320. And to do that, just do 320 times 0.25 or 1/4. And our answer comes out to be 80. So our answer is 80 for the first problem. Second problem, what we need to do is we need to put in 5 for x. So every time you see an x, put a 5 there. So then what our problem is going to read like is 5 over 35 plus 5 times 5 squared. Excuse me. First thing we gotta do is our exponents. So we get 5 over 35 plus 5 times 5 squared, which is 25. That comes out to be 5 over 35 plus 5 times 25, which is 125. Now 35 plus 125, we have 5 over 160. And now we got to do 5 divided by 160. And our answer comes out to be 0.03125. Now you can write it like this, or you can just write it as a fraction as 1 over 32. Both of these are correct. Next problem, we have if a equals 8 and b equals 3, what is the value of the following expression? Well, if a equals 8, we got to put 8 in every time we see an a, and 3 in every time we see a b. So 3 goes in everywhere we see a b. So what our problem is going to look like then is 5 times 8 times 3 over 8 times 3. So 5 times 8 is 40. 40 times 3 is 120. 8 times 3 is 24. So 120 divided by 24 gives us 5. Our answer then is 5. Next, we have to evaluate the expression when x equals 4. So 4 goes into everywhere we have an x. So our problem is going to look like this. 2 times 4 minus 5 with 4 minus 2 in our exponent spot. Well, we got to do our parentheses first, and let's do our exponent parentheses first. So we get 2 times 4 minus 5. 4 minus 2 in parentheses is 2. So now we got to do these parentheses first. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 5 gives us 3. So then what we're left with is 3 to the second power. 3 squared is 9. Because 3 times 3 is 9. Our last problem on this page. Evaluate the expression when x equals 3. So we're going to replace all our x's with 3. So we get 3 times 3 minus 5 to the third power minus 13. So what we got to do first, we got to do what's inside our parentheses. So 3 times 3, which is 9, minus 5 to the third power minus 13. So 9 minus 5 then is 4. 4 to the third power minus 13. 4 to the third power is 64. 64 minus 13 gives us 51. Our answer here is 51. Alright, so we evaluated expressions. Now we're going to apply formulas. So this one says, last weekend Carlos rode his bicycle for 3 hours and traveled 21 miles. On average, at what rate did Carlos travel on his bicycle ride? Use the distance formula D equals RT. Well, we know that Carlos rode his bicycle for 3 hours. So we're going to say that T equals time. R is going to equal rate. And D will equal distance. So if D equals distance, well, we know that he traveled 21 miles. So we have 21 equals R. We're trying to find R, so we have R times T. T is time. Well, we know he rode his bicycle for 3 hours. So R times 3. So what we got to do is we got to get R by itself. So we're going to divide by 3 because they're both touching. So 21 divided by 3 then is 7. 7 equals R. So we're going to say that he traveled 7 miles per hour. He traveled 7 miles per hour. Next one, the cost C of renting a car for D days can be calculated using the formula C equals 114 plus 5 times D minus 1. how much does it cost to rent a car for 9 days? Well, we know we have C equals 114 plus 5 times D minus 1. Well, we know that D stands for days. Now it's asking us to find how much it costs to rent a car for 9 days. So instead of D, we're going to have 9. Now if we follow order of operations, we're going to do the parentheses first. So we're going to have C equals 114 plus 5 times whatever's in our parentheses, 9 minus 1, which is 8. So then we get C equals 114 plus, we got to do multiplication next. 5 times 8 is 40. So we know that C equals 114 plus 40, which is 154. Our total is $154 to rent a car for 9 days. Next problem, it says paper is used to cover a roll of pennies from the bank. Use the surface area formula, SA, surface formula, or surface area, equals PH plus 2B to find out how much paper is needed to cover the penny roll. Well, it gives us that P equals perimeter. So we have surface area, SA, equals our P, which is perimeter. Our perimeter is 2 inches, so we have a 2 for P. Times H, our H is our height, which our height is 4 inches, so we can say 4, plus 2 times B. We said B is the area of the base, and the area of the base is 2.8. So 2.8. So we got 2 multiplication problems. We got to do those, the one on the left first. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 2 times 2.8, which gives us 5.6. So our surface area equals 8 plus 5.6. So our surface area equals 13.6 inches. So our surface area of our paper is 13.6 inches on our penny roll. Next one says simple interest is calculated using the following formula. I equals PRT, where I is the interest, P is the principal or the money, R is the rate or the decimal, and T is the time in years. So it says if you invest $375 at 4% for 5 years, how much interest will you receive? Well, we're looking for our I, our interest. We know that we have P as our principal, as our money, so we know that we have $375. So instead of P, we're going to write 375. R is our rate. We got to write this as a decimal. So 4% as a decimal is 0.04. So 375.04. And T is the time in years. We're putting this away for 5 years. So instead of T, we have 5. Now all we got to do is multiply these all together. So 375 times 0.04 gives us 15. Then 15 times 5 gives us 75. So this is how much interest your investment will make in 5 years. So after 5 years, you won't have $375 anymore. You'll have $375 plus 75, which is $450. Now it says given P equals $500, R equals 6%, and I equals 240, find the time the money was invested. Well, we know that our I is 240, so we can write that out. Equals our P, which is our principal or our money. We know that we have $500 times the rate, which is 6%, so that written as a decimal is 0.06. And we don't know our T. So what we got to do then is we need to solve this. So 500 times 0.06 and we get 30 times T equals 240. So then we need to divide by 30 to get T by itself because they're touching, which means multiplication, and the opposite of that is division. So if we divide those, our T equals 240 divided by 30, which is 80. So what we are finding then is, oh, not 80, sorry. Our answer then is 8. So what we're finding then is T, this money, has been put away for 8 years. So in 8 years, we've got $240 of interest on $500 at a 6% rate. So 8 years is our time for this one. Alright, now we're going to work with some temperature problems. So it says the formula F equals 9/5 C plus 32 allows you to convert between Fahrenheit and Celsius temperatures. Or Fahrenheit is the F, Celsius is the C. So it says find the temperature when C equals 35 degrees. So we're going to have an F equals 9/5. Now our C is going to equal 35, so instead of C we're going to have 35 plus 32. So if we do this, 9/5 times 35, we get 63 plus 32, which gives us 95. So when the temperature is 35 degrees Celsius, that means it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Next problem, our F equals 50 degrees, so our Fahrenheit is 50 degrees. So instead of F, we have 50 times 9/5 C plus 32. So what we're doing is we're solving for C, trying to get C by itself. So what we got to do first is we need to get rid of the constant, which is a 32. So we're going to subtract 32. $50 minus 32 gives us 18. Equals 9/5 C. So because 9/5 and C are attached to, or are touching each other, we can divide by 9/5. So 18 divided by 9/5 gives us 10. So 10 equals C. So when it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, it means it's 10 degrees Celsius outside.